All right, family, it's the General. I'm black at y'all ass again with this real talk. Today we're gonna be dealing with a very, very powerful topic. We're gonna be dealing with the Sufi Nazarites and woolly-headed Christ figures of the ancient world. You know, a lot of people may not be familiar with the Sufi orders, that exist in Islam today, that existed thousands of years before Islam in its African tradition. Also dealing with the Nazarite, what we call the African locks, the priests and mystics that wore the African locks in the ancient world. Christ figures all over from Africa to Asia who had the divine woolly crown on their head. So we're going to be dealing with this today and see the power in who we are. You see, we're doing a lot of reading, but we just not understand. Motherfucker can read a ton of books and still not understand. And so today, we're going to break through that. We're going to break down a lot of the occult and hidden meanings of a lot of this material. We're speaking, but the words are mute because we don't know the true definition of these words. So today we will be unlocking the mystery of the ancient world. We will be unlocking the power of the crown, the woolly crowns that sit upon our heads. I want y'all to prepare yourself to be exposed to earth-shaking information. Now, prepare yourself. This is academic artillery for the African scholar. You see, I want you to get on over there to kingseti.com online marketplace. Official General Sara Seti DVD lectures, t-shirts and hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics, remedies, and much, much more. Also get over to Seti University of Ancient and Modern African Wisdom and Knowledge, the complete General Sara Seti website, generalseti.com. Ring the alarm, generalseti.com. Okay, hundreds of lectures and videos, General Seti street battles, debates, all world religions, black power politics and economics, Seti with the master teachers, video and radio interviews, Too Raw for YouTube, band videos, highlights from over 50 cities, and much, much more. Okay? I want you to subscribe, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, give all my videos a thumbs up, like it because you love it. Uh, join my General Seti YouTube page, Sara Seti YouTube page, King Seti YouTube page, because Seti Live is lit. I want you to support me on my Patreon, General Sara Seti, General Sara Seti Patreon, with over 100 exclusive live stream videos that you ain't gonna see nowhere else but on my Patreon. So you need to get on over there right now if you know like I know. You see? And so family is about to go down. It's about to go down. Prepare yourself. You understand? Let all ignorance run and hide. The gods and goddesses are in the house. African gods and goddesses are in the house. Today we're going to be dealing with the Sufi Nazarite and woolly haired Christ figures of the ancient world. Now, for many people, the Sufi, the Nazarite, is a mysticism. And other forms of mysticism, you might know Kabbalah, you might know the Shriners and all type of Gnosticism, even voodoo. You see, it's voodoo. You got woolly-headed mystics. So you know what I'm saying? You got woolly-headed mystics in voodoo. And that's another one. And so many of these African traditions, outside of the little dogma, you understand what I'm saying? That they might have, and the ritualism and culture is the same. You see what I'm saying? It's basically the same. And so, the ancient African Sufi Nazarite, when you dealing with the coily hair and you talking about the crown of God. And we're going to show you that many of the gods of the ancient world wore this crown, and it was divine to have woolly hair. Also, that it was the abode of God. When you became a Nazarite, your hair was the consecration of to God. And so God, your hair became the abode of God. You see what I'm saying? And so when you're talking about the crown chakra and you're looking at that woolly haired Buddha, which is African, which is one of the woolly haired Christ figures of the ancient world, you see the sun is emanating through the crown. You see what I'm saying? It's an antenna. It's also the abode of the solar energy. You understand? Along with the pioneer, which is the seat, and your hair being the crown. You see? And so we understand that the true crown was taken from the halo. When you look at a crown today on many kings, is nothing but a manifestation of the halo, which is a manifestation of the sun. And so today we're going to be talking about the original Sufi, the man of wool, the original Nazarite, the man of wool, and all other African mystic Christ figures of the ancient world. Now, in this, in the Nazarite, in the Sufism, even in the mystery schools of ancient Egypt, or the Nile Valley, the goal was to become deity. The goal was to become godlike. In many instances, to even have a one-on-one experience with the Creator. And so a lot of people, in Buddhism, they say nirvana. You understand what I'm saying? Achieving nirvana. In the mystery schools of ancient Egypt is to become godlike. You see what I'm saying? And so, in the Baptist church is goddamn it catching the Holy Ghost. You're having a one-on-one experience with God. You see, now in Daniel 7:9 it says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. So this wasn't even Jesus. This was God the Father, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like the pure wool. Didn't say goddamn it half wool and half this, that, and this. It's a pure wool. So we talking about God the Father, the Ancient of Days. You understand? So you already know who you're talking about. You see? So what does it mean to be pure? He says not mixed or unadulterated with any other substance or material. Not mixed or unadulterated with any other substance or material. So when it says pure wool, it means pure African, pure Kushite. It also means free of any contamination. See, so they understood what Daniel 7:9 meant. And so when it came to Revelations, what they tried to do, Revelations 1:14, where it said his head and his hair were white like wool. See, right there, they tried to take the emphasis off of the texture and apply it to the color to fool you, not knowing that you got black sheep also. You see what I'm saying? You got the black sheep also. Now, when we talking about the Christ figure, we got to also understand, when it means to be Christ. Because you got to have, you got to be black. You got to be melanated. You got to have the source of what they call the liquid of God. The liquid of God. He anointed my head with oil. You understand what I'm saying? So when you talk about the Greek, the freak, which they don't know too much about nothing, no way. It says Christ from the Greek means anointed one, meaning to anoint. Anoint with what? What do you anoint with? And so, to be anointed, you have to go also into the Sanskrit with Krishna, which is nothing more than Christ, which is the black woolly-headed deity over there that they did just like the black Christ, Osiris. You see what I'm saying? And then turned him into some wicked manifestation of today that look more Cro-Magnon Neanderthal. In Sanskrit, Krishna means black. So when it says to anoint with what? And you understand that Krishna means black, it means to anoint with melanin. And so the oil that they speaking about is melanin. You understand? So Christ means the anointed one with melanin. He anointed my head with oil. And see, a lot of people don't understand, even in the New Testament, the disciples was listening to Jesus speak, and he was speaking in parables, and he was talking in a way that even the damn disciples couldn't even understand what he was saying. So when they got him alone, they say, man, what the hell was you talking about? And he said, well, I was speaking in parable. He said, God damn it, it ain't meant for everybody to know, these things. It's only meant for you. And they were confused until the one that they called Jesus, uh, gave them the source of the parables, the true meaning of the parables. But goddamn, and so if he's speaking in parable, you can't read the Bible thinking that you're going to read some surface information. It's a lot of that information that is hidden from the common mind. You see what I'm saying? And it's going to take a great one, such as the general, that can break that information down to you. So Christ means the anointed black Christ, anointed with melanin, and also black consciousness, not just no damn melanin, but that immortal consciousness of the cosmos. You see what I'm saying? As you look out in that sky and you see that black melanin, that cosmic melanin. Now, it also, we speaking in, I keep losing this chapter. Matter of fact, the book. I believe this was in Matthew. I don't know which one it was, but we'll get it. We'll get it. You can find it. All you have to do is look it up. Where he's dealing with separating the sheep from the goat. See, now you're dealing with totems, zoomorphic totems, where the sheep and the goat is symbolic of people. Okay? And you got to understand that. And it says, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with them, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats, his sheep from the goats. He shall keep the sheep on the right hand and the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye be blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For as I hungered, and ye gave me meat, I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Okay? And so we talking about the sheep. They fed Christ. You understand what I'm saying? They gave him meat. But then shall he say unto them on the left hand, which is the goat, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devils and angels. For I was hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in, naked, and ye clothed me not, sick and in prison, and ye visit me not. So when we talk about, the sheep, we talking about the woolly head, the coily head, which is also serpentine in origin. You see what I'm saying? Ouroboros, you're talking about the spiral of the serpent, which emanates spirit. You see what I'm saying? And we see that these Nazarites, which a lot of people think of Bob Marley when they see a dread. I don't even know why they call it dreadlocks. There's African locks. There's nothing to dread, and that's why they call it dreadlocks, not African locks. It's mystic, spiritual, sacred African locks. You understand that? Depict the ancient Sufis and the ancient Nazarites and the ancient African mystics who understood that. And you see many of the African traditions with the hair today. You see? And you see right here, wigs in ancient Egypt prove that the Egyptians had coily and spirally hair. And so all throughout the Nile Valley, you see these Nazarites, you see these in what we call Sufi mystics. Long before Islam. Ain't no goddamn Islam got nothing to do with woolly-headed Christ figure mysticism, African mysticism of the ancient world. Even when you look at the war crime, of ancient Egypt, you see the spiral inside the crown symbolic of the hair. You understand? It's in by number 6:5. All the days of the vow of his separation. We talking about the Nazarite. And then you talk about Jesus of Nazarene. You know what I'm saying? Which is nothing, these is all, occult understanding of Osiris that's far older than anything that you can ever read in the Bible. Okay, so don't get it twisted. We just using these modern manifestations to transport deeper, to go through the portal with symbolic of the serpent, the dragon, to teleport through time. See, all the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled in which he separated himself from the Lord, which is serpentine, or Ouroboros, Gorgon. You see the OR is serpentine. So when you talk about the Lord, when you talk about the serpents of ancient Egypt, you see the crown on their head to symbolize rulership and sovereignty. He shall be holy and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. Okay? Throughout the term of his vow as a Nazarite, no razor shall touch his head. He shall remain consecrated until the completion of his term as Nazarite of the Lord. Okay, all the days, number 6, all the days of his separation, he is holy unto the Lord. So you got to understand that. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got to understand the divinity of your hair. Because the consecration of his God is upon his head. You see? It's upon his head. And that's your hair. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head. Okay? And so we went through that. And so when we go to Psalms, and I didn't put you can go in there and look it up your damn self. I think it's Psalm 25. Thou anointest my head with oil. Now I put something up there. We know that this is just some oil that use melanin. The oil, is melanin. When you talk about it, he anointed my head with oil. That's the Christ figure. That's the black Christ figure. And the oil is melanin. So we talking about our hair, which is our crown. We talking about the pineal, which is the seat of the Almighty. Now we're going to be dealing with some Sufism in Senegal. Right there, you're looking at the Grand Mosque of Touba. You understand, which is the Mecca of West Africa. This is where the brothers and sisters go to their pilgrimage. They don't go to Mecca a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't either. Goddamn it, dealing with the racism of them Arabs over there. And plus, goddamn it, you in Africa is the Holy Land. The hell you gonna go to another man's land talking about holy? You in the Holy Land when you in Africa. So this should be, and we got to go all the way a lot of times. We still dealing with, partially, you know what I'm saying, foreign entities. And we got to go all the way. But, in dealing with the Sufism in Africa, we see a lot of the African culture still connected with these brothers and sisters. And so you see Touba in Senegal, you understand and we have to just take the time, do some research. Now with the African locks, we're gonna deal with one Sufi group, which is a part of what they call the Morides. You know what I'm saying? Which is a form of Sufism. I don't necessarily agree with the Pale Arab that they got some connection to, but we talking about I would say a denomination of the Morides, which is in Sydney. Now, the Morides is all over West Africa, but we're talking about denominations of that Sufi order, which we call Bay Falls, which is in Senegal. And you see right there, you know what I'm saying? We talking about the dark melanin. We talking about the woolly head mystics, and they are mystics. When you're dealing with Sufism, you're dealing with mysticism, and we're going to break it down, which they don't do in Islam. And Sufism is shunned and called, heretic in Islam because they still hold on to many of their African traditions, such as wearing talisman, which you see over their neck that ain't no damn, you go to, over there with them pale Arabs, they're going to look down on this. They ain't going to see no Muslim right there. You know what I'm saying? But these are the Sufi order, and the Sufism is the African tradition. You understand? This is the African tradition, and you see they wear they locks. You see what I'm saying? So this is really what it means. They're gonna tell you, they're gonna when you talk about Sufism, they're gonna talk about some coats and shit. Like there's some Tibetan monks came from the east wearing lamb coats and shit. Man, that ain't got nothing to do with a goddamn thing. They always lying. They dealing with these woolly head African mystics. That's what they talking about when they talking about the wool. Because it go back into ancient times. You understand? You can't go to Tibet. Tibet is some yesterday, some Johnny come lately. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing ancient about Tibet when you comparing it to Africa. It's yesterday. And so you see these brothers that, you couldn't look at them and say that they was Muslims. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the African tradition that they hold on to, and which is very beautiful. Now, in that Sufism, they also have shrines, and a shrine is it could be a building, it could be a tree, it could be where a holy person, a saint, has been attributed to that building, and that the mystics and the pilgrimages are taken to that building so that they could pray and venerate that saint, and pray for intercession, just like the Catholics do with Mary, to intercede in your behalf on the people. You know what I'm saying? For the people. You see, and so there are shrines which is not typically a lot, which they say, but the guy and they say that is not accepted in Islam, and they got a goddamn shrine to every little fake prophet that they want to venerate, Ali and Umar and all the rest of them. That's not looked at as no shrine. So when a Muslim go to Umar's a mosque or his burial, which ain't no Umar in there, then that's not looked at as a shrine. So, the only thing they mad about is because these brothers and sisters got an African saint. And, they don't like that. You supposed to be venerating that pale air. And so you seeing all throughout, the United States and many European nations where they trying to ban African hairdo. Because they know the power in that. Where you can't wear, these is our traditional, what the hell we look like, and we understand the origin of that. You understand what I'm saying? We understand the power of that. That's why it continues on for thousands and thousands of years, unabated. Another black student suspended for his African locks. Okay? And so they understand. So that's the negativity that they have on that, because they understand that the serpents of the Titan, Medusa, which was, a beautiful woman, but was cursed hideous. You see what I'm saying? Was cursed hideous. The same serpents on the head of Medusa is the same serpents behind the head of Buddha. And then also Jesus was, compared to the brazen serpent, the healing serpent, which you call the caduceus. You see what I'm saying? So he was also compared to the serpent. And so we see again that, there is a story that is yet to be told. So when you talk about the sheep with the woolly, that's the woolly hair. You see, when you talk about the goat, then you're talking about the straight hair. That's what you're talking about. So when you go to ancient Egypt, you're talking about the shrines of ancient Egypt. You're talking about Abydos, Philae, Napata, which is down in Sudan, Saqqara, Karnak, Aksum in Ethiopia. Even St. Mary's in Ethiopia is a shrine that pilgrims make pilgrimages from all over Africa, all over the world, to these areas. And so here at Saqqara, you see that this is a shrine to Zosia and many other African holy men and women in that whole complex, Saqqara complex. But this particular pyramid and the pyramid complex possessed shrines to Zosia. And I myself went there. and made my pilgrimage. You understand? As an African mystic. You see what I'm saying? And so, we got to understand you could say Sufism, you could say Nazarite, or you could just say African. You ain't got to, that it all, has some similarities in African tradition. So this is Zoja who ruled around 2700 BC, and there in that Saqqara temple complex, you see that there's a serdab. If you look through, you'll see right there the statue of Zoja. So this is a holy area where you come and venerate the great Pharaoh who has now become Osiris in his transformation. You see what I'm saying? So this is a shrine. So even at Philae, which is a shrine to Isis. Then you go to Abydos, which is a shrine to Osiris. You see, and right there behind that temple, you'll see that there's the Osirian, and this is where Osiris was said to be buried. You see what I'm saying? So this is a shrine, and you see the ark that would carry an image of Osiris, just like they try to carry Mary through the streets today in an ark. So this is the Ark of Osiris, and you see right here, these are shrines. You'll see a deity or a mystic or a saint or African saint that is being venerated, you see, and so they would make a shrine. So many of what you see even in Voodoo today and many other African traditions where they make shrines was being, this is an ancient African tradition. And they will also bring food to these shrines, which you see still being carried on today. And so you see the power in the African shrine through what they call the Hebraic tradition of the Ark of Covenant, which is a shrine, but it was taken from the ancient Egyptian shrine. And so again, you see Bay Falls and you see their patron saint whom they follow. I forget the brother's name, but that's not, and so, it's okay, that they venerate their own people. It's most definitely an honor to see African people venerate their own. You see what I'm saying? All they had to do is cut the white Arab all the way loose, and they gone back to the ancestral basis and foundation. And so what you see, even in what they don't do in the Arab Islam, that they make sacred paintings all over the city, of their patron saints. They got more than one patron, one saint, and then so this is not a lie, even though, they do it in Arab Islam. They just mad because it's black people. Just let's be clear about that. And so you see the sacred graffiti, you see what I'm saying, of their saints, which is very beautiful to see. That I don't see no white Arab there, and it's very powerful. And so you see the graffiti, which is sacred graffiti, sacred art, you see. And here's another shrine where they come and venerate. And this is Tubala. And you see the brother bowing down to the young queen there. And that's powerful because you won't see that in Arab Islam. But, it was powerful for me to learn that even at Timbuktu, that they had saints. And Timbuktu is called the city with 333 saints. And so you see some Mali extremists attack the Sufi shrines in Timbuktu, I believe, in 2112. You see they attack, and even the pyramid there, I believe, is a shrine to one of those African saints of Timbuktu. And you can see where they obviously they damaged it. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Only in my new research there I found out that these extremists attacked that pyramid because you can see them on the side, obviously, fixing it. And you see here also, they didn't went in there and destroyed it. Because you can see them putting all type of new mud up on the pyramid tombs and shrines. These are shrines. You see one shrine here where they knocked a hole in it. So there's a lot of shrines in Timbuktu, you know. And so Sufism is very powerful in Africa, and I like the fact that they venerate their own. You see, and so you see us chanting that go on in Sufism, as in Nazarite and all other African traditions such as Voodoo. And so it could get loud now, just like in the Baptist church. It could get loud. That's a part of the Africanism that they don't want to acknowledge. They got all that other craziness on top of it that they can't see that is African. And so these brothers and sisters can get loud, you know, and chatting. We do it too. Even when we teaching and preaching and all that, we can get loud. And so the white Arab ain't gonna like that, even though they do a lot of they just don't like the fact that they hear them African voices, which is way more powerful. It's deeper. The waters is deep. You see what I'm saying? The soul is deep. So when you hear all these brothers and sisters chanting and getting into their spirit, shit, it can shake mountains. And so they scared of that. Also in the Sufism and the drumming, is in the Nazarite is the drumming. And you right there, you see a drum from ancient Egypt. You see right there, you see the sister to the right with the drum, you know, slapping that drum. And you see here to the left, you see the Sufi. He's an African Sufi. This is a Sudanese Sufi. He's slapping the same drum that being slapped since ancient time. You see God is best, slapping the drum, the handheld drum. You see the brothers here beating on the drum. So you already know they rocking. You know, what you ain't gonna hear. I didn't heard white Arabs say, you know, the music is, you know, you ain't supposed to do that. God damn it, well, take this shit on over there with you. Cause we gonna play our music. Cause, you know, in our spirit, the universe is music and harmony. You see, that's why in melody, you hear melanin. You see, and so because they don't possess that, they defame and they make derogatory those things which are sacred to African people. Just like you see the brothers, they be sisters out there dancing, which, you know, they don't like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't like that, but we've been doing it a very long time, and it's in our soul to do that. This is a Sufi, and you see him there with the leopard skin. You see him right there with, you know, with the nose ring. You see him with the locks. They're not going to like that in Islam. So you see that goes back even to the Nile Valley, even before the Nile Valley. You see the African kings and royalty all over Africa. Queens also wear the leopard skin. You see, and another thing that you see with the Sufis and what you see with African mysticism, whether it's Buddha, whether it's the Nazarite, it's talismans. You see, and so you see right there, you can see Muslims in West Africa rocking bracelets of various colors. You know how our people are very colorful. They wear the locks, they wear talisman with their saints on it. You see, these are Sufis. You know, and they still claim to be Muslim, but they, you know, still have their African tradition. They damn near all the way home. And so I'll be glad when they cut the rest of that Arab Islam off of the African and let it go all the way. You know, because ain't nothing that you looking at is Islamic. You know what I'm saying? So they need to quit calling on Muhammad and all this, that, and the third, and having any connection to the pale Arab and go back to the original African tradition that they had, got them in tens of thousands of years before it was an Arab ever known on the planet. We got to stop this. And so you see the beautiful talisman that, which, you know, we had even in the Nile Valley. We had our talismans. We had our sacred medallions that we wore. You know what I'm saying? So this is African tradition. You also the bright, colorful combinations of clothes. And you're not going to see that in Arab Islam. You're not going to see that with the pale Jew. You're not going to see that. You see these, anytime, you know, it's only one man could wear some socks like that. They got to be an African. You know what I'm saying? These every color of the rainbow. You understand what I'm saying? On that man's socks. You understand? So, you know, he matching up top too. And so you can see right there, the various African clothing. You see what I'm very colorful. You see what I'm saying? And again, you see the talisman. You could not even see, you would think just the average African, you know what I'm saying, in culture and in mind, until they open up their mouth and say some damn Muhammad or something. And so now we're going to deal with the whirling devils, excuse me, dervishes. A lot of people, when they think of Sufism, they think of some damn Turkey and some whirling dervishes and shit where they over there spinning and they don't know what the hell they doing. They're just spinning. You understand? They don't understand that our hair is the things that come naturally to us, even in our hair. You know what I'm saying? The thing that we've been understood, the power of the centripetal force of the universe, been understood it. And so when they got it, they didn't know, they just spinning and spinning, high off of some damn Hayron or something, and don't, in a psychedelic shock of being doped up. You see what I'm saying? And so you see here we going back to the goat. You see what I'm saying? And so we got to separate the goats from the sheep. And so we see that the spiral, and when you're dealing with the solar plexus, all the way down to the root chakra, and you see that spirit moves in spiral. You see what I'm saying? It moves in spiral. And so, you see that, from the human being to the divine one is the spirit evolves in the spiral. And so everything in the universe, whether it's the tornado, whether it's the hurricane, whether it's the turbine of a damn jet, it all moves in the spiral, centripetal energy and force. You see what I'm saying? So while the little dervish is just spinning, the brother now he done broke it down on so many levels, because not only is he doing the serpentine, the core, he also spinning at the same time. He's showing you how you know what I'm saying? So he really showing you, and so we don't look at that. That the brother then tapped in, which he did. He done tapped in. When we was in our earlier stages of hip hop, we had tapped into the serpentine consciousness. You see what I'm saying? We just didn't interpret it like that. You see what I'm saying? But that's what had happened. We had tapped in to the cosmic energy of the universe, and we were doing something that would mesmerize, because that's how you know you didn't tap it. You mesmerize all things on the planet. Everybody wanted to do it. Everybody wanted to rap. Everybody wanted to do the graffiti. Everybody wanted to scratch. Even there on the turntable, you're dealing with centripetal energy. And so the family went to the turntable, Grandmaster Flash, and invented a whole nother damn art form. Well, you turn the turntable into a damn instrument. And so we wasn't just spinning, we was tapping in now. Them whirling devils, dervishes, was turning. They didn't understand this cosmic energy from the standpoint of the chose. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you talk about the Dogon, they ain't just dancing. They dancing out the constellations of the stars. You see what I'm saying? They dealing with that scientific mysticism. You see what I'm saying? They dancing out the Sirius constellation, Sirius A and Sirius B. And so again, family, when we went back into and tapped into that cosmic force that, we want, that we are the chose. And goddamn it, even in West Africa, we didn't have to wait on them to become we was Sufis long before that. Long before the world and devils. You see what I'm saying? We were even in West Africa from hip hop. You see what I'm saying? From hip hop to West Africa, we already understood the centripetal force. We already understood the mass, the power of the spiral, and which is symbolic of the transformation of energy. You see what I'm saying? And so we got to get back into that. You see what I'm saying? We got to get back and tap into the ancient African mysticism, which we already knew through science. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that, when you look, at the hurricane, this is a coil. This is serpentine. Just like the hair on our head. So just like you generate energy in a hurricane, you generating energy in your crown. You see your woolly hair, which is the antenna connected to the cosmos, the turbine. All science come from things that they saw in nature first. You understand what I'm saying? And they tried to duplicate it. You see what I'm saying? In what we call science. You see, it was only, and even the wind turbines that also generate energy is moving in centrifugal force, family. The engine, the gears in the engine is moving in centrifugal force. And so once you understand, you have that energy sitting in your crown. You had the wool, the divine one. You got that energy, and when you align all your chakras, you open them up. When you purify your spirit and soul, and you connect with the Most High, the cosmos, and you charge up that sun that's inside of you, which they call the solar plexus, that will give you unbending will and determination. Then you will become what they call godlike. You understand what I'm saying? You will achieve what they call nirvana. Even when you look at, the universe, that's us. That's us. We are the manifestation of solar energy right here on this planet. We are the sun made flesh, and that's why the sun produces the holy liquid of melanin inside of us. And so when we say he anointed my head with oil, then it goes back into the Bible where it says, for God is a son. For God is a son, and there's healing in his wings. And we will understand that much deeper as we do our studies. I want to thank you for your time and energy and support. Make sure you get on over there to kingseti.com, generalseti.com, my Patreon, General Sara Seti. And hey, this is not the end. This is just, a pause for the cause. We'll be back with another powerful video real soon. Subscribe to all my YouTube channels, General Seti, YouTube, Sara Seti, YouTube, King Seti, YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you know when I go live and get a video, a thumbs up, like it, because you love it. Black Power.